How are you guys doing? This one's called What the PIMPSCAMUS Thinks of the Baby Deer Watch Channel. You gotta remember, the PIMPSCAMUS is a wizard, so the PIMPSCAMUS knows about the baby deer, the spineless snot channel. The PIMPSCAMUS knows because the PIMPSCAMUS is the wizard. Now, the name, the operator's name, it means baby deer, which the PIMPSCAMUS would say that goes right down to a very suiting name that means beta male. The baby deer, very suiting name for this baby deer beta male. The PIMPSCAMUS, you can't fool the PIMPSCAMUS about the baby deer. Now, the baby deer is an alcoholic, but the baby deer is a very misleading alcoholic because the baby deer is misrepresenting that Irish people are alcoholics. Like an alcoholic lad, like an Irish lad, alcoholic. But Irish people are not alcoholics. Not at all. So the baby deer is misrepresenting Irish people being alcoholics. And that's wrong. Now, the real reason this baby deer is an alcoholic is due to stage fright. Yes, the baby deer is a musician. A terrible musician with a terrible band. And the baby deer had stage fright. So the baby deer fought the stage fright with alcohol. And just kept on the habit going for the rest, going on and on and on. So an alcoholic. The PIMPSCAMUS cannot be fooled because the PIMPSCAMUS is a wizard. Now the baby deer lives in Italy. Oh yes. Because the baby deer can't stand and cope to live in a fast society. That alcoholic baby deer can't live in a fast society. That failure. All around failure. Nobody wants to be around that baby deer. It's a misfit. So the misfit goes to Italy to be away from a fast society, a happening society. The PIMPSCAMUS knows because the PIMPSCAMUS is the wizard. Now, the baby deer doesn't know anything about watches. Not a thing. The baby deer is a big fake. That big fake baby deer, that beta male, doesn't know anything about watches. Because the baby deer, that beta male, can't explain one technical feature about a watch. The baby deer can talk about a watch, but not capable, that beta male, of explaining a technical feature like why does the movement mainspring work this way, or how does the gears inside the movement work a certain way. The baby deer is a beta male and cannot explain any of that. So it's a beta male with a fake watch channel, and that's what the PIMPSCAMUS thinks about the spineless snot channel. The PIMPSCAMUS is a faith-healing wizard, cannot fool the PIMPSCAMUS. So that's what the PIMPSCAMUS thinks of the baby deer watch channel. And I think the PIMPSCAMUS had it very, very accurate. Yes, the baby deer is a beta male. Just listen to the baby deer. Take a look at the baby deer. Everything about the baby deer reeks beta male. Alcoholic, of course. Just take a look at the baby deer. Of course it's an alcoholic. It promotes alcohol. Imagine somebody that promotes to the kids to drink alcohol. That's not very classy, is it? So the baby deer, yeah, it's alcoholic. And that's true, like promoting alcohol to the kids and all that. It's not classy. It's really pathetic. And the reason to be an alcoholic, who knows? But the PIMPSCAMUS knows because the PIMPSCAMUS is a wizard. And of course, the baby deer does actually live where the PIMPSCAMUS says. And it does appear to be a slow-moving society, old buildings around, nobody really around. It's not like you don't have to hurry, you don't have to think fast, you don't even have to watch out for cars. You're walking around, there's no cars going by. You might as well be living in the friggin' desert, right? So, that makes sense. Like, can't stand and cope to live in a fast society. And, yeah, don't know anything about watches. I agree with that because look at the baby deer. The baby deer gets a bunch of Pagani design watches. The baby deer gets some of those and runs them down. Well, the baby deer is a watch snob. You look at the baby deer, all around, it's always a watch snob. It's always a dirty dig to somebody being a watch snob. Every video, it's always a dirty dig to somebody or something being a watch snob. Well, who the heck is the baby deer? Take a look at the baby deer. all kind of dirty and looking like a homeless kind of schmuck that lives in a ditch, and then playing the watch snob. It doesn't, there's the misfit, right? So the Pimp Scamus has it right. It's a misfit. A misfit watch snob, doesn't know anything about watches. And beta male. Typical beta male, because everything is censored. A beta male with this fragile ego where everything is censored. If it doesn't praise the baby deer, if it doesn't praise what the baby deer thinks, it's all censored out and deleted. That's all the baby deer's got. Censorship. The baby deer is a censorship queen. Censorship queen, all dirty and unkept, but a censorship queen. That's a misfit. How much of a misfit could you find? Very spineless. Anybody goes around and censoring everybody out like that, that's very spineless. It's very snotty. It's very spineless. And, you take a luxury watch that costs $10,000 plus, and then you order some AliExpress Pagani design watches, and you're comparing Pagani design watches to $10,000 plus watches, and running down the Pagani design watches, running down the character of people that buy Pagani design watches. That's not classy. That's snotty. It's spineless. It's beta male, right down to the core. And anybody that does that, snotty little baby deer. Yes, sir. Yes, the baby deer has fought with everybody. The PIMPSCAMUS knows, because the PIMPSCAMUS is a wizard. So the baby deer fought with everybody. Censors out everybody the baby deer can. Really pathetic beta male, that's true. Now, the baby deer is quite a liar, too. And I'll tell you, the baby deer is a liar. Because the baby deer will get censored and then whine like a little doll. It's like a little doll whining. You ever see those little dolls that cry out the fake tears? You put the water and the doll cries out, the little girls play with them. That's the baby deer will cry like that when the baby deer gets censored. And the baby deer has got censored before. The baby deer will cry like a little doll. Got censored. Baby deer, cry like a little doll. But the baby deer censors everybody else, and that's okay. So the baby deer is a hypocrite, like unbelievable hypocrite. Yes, sir. And the PIMPSCAMUS got it right. The baby deer is a terrible musician with a terrible band. Retired even at that. So the PIMPSCAMUS, even though the PIMPSCAMUS is a wizard, the PIMPSCAMUS had it right about the music, And I'll tell you something about this baby deer, spineless little beta male. There'll be like celebrity musicians, and these celebrity musicians will be deceased, will die and deceased, and they're not even cold in the ground. And the baby deer is cashing in on them. The baby deer will cash in on anything if you watch the baby deer enough. This baby deer is a pathetic beta male that will cash in on anything. So a celebrity musician that's not even buried and dead in the ground yet, and the baby deer's cashing in on it. Telling all this baloney, like how they hung around with a celebrity musician, did business with a celebrity musician, all this and that, cashing right on into a deceased person. That's not classy. When there's a deceased person, a celebrity or anybody, and somebody else is cashing in on them, cashing in on their legacy, and then saying stuff that can't not be debunked because that musician's dead. They cannot come along and debunk it. They can't say, well, this guy's lying. I never hung around with him. I never did business with this guy. So that's very convenient. So that's very spineless to come along and say, oh, yeah, I did business. I was involved. I toured with this celebrity musician. Well, the celebrity musician is dead. He cannot debunk it. That's not fair. Because if the celebrity musician was still alive, he could come along and debunk it. He could say, that's not true, never happened. I don't even know who this person is. So to cash in on that is pathetic. And you know what? This baby deer, every video is always trying to direct to donate to Patreon. The baby deer is always trying to funnel everything in to donate to the Patreon. And that's pathetic too, because you try to represent yourself as having all these luxury watches, all this travel and money, but yet you're so pathetic that you need Patreon donations. How pathetic is that? You can't get much more pathetic. and all the censorship. When they get censored, they cry like a little doll, but they censor everybody else. And proud of it. And really proud of it. Imagine being proud of censoring other people. I just don't get it. And I don't think the PIMPSCAMUS even gets it. Like the PIMPSCAMUS, the bigger scammer of all, thinks this baby deer is a scammer. So if the PIMPSCAMUS, being the scammer he is, can detect this, it's pretty friggin' bad when you think of it. So you guys think of all this. So you guys comment anything you want, because comments here are not, they're not censored, they're not deleted. They're not deleted by me anyway. And that's the way it works here anyway. So no beta male censorship here. Thank you for your time, you guys.